very good day, Ms. Haswin. Today our group is going to present about the tension between United States and North Korea. My name is Hanson and I'm going to discuss the introduction regarding the matter related to the dispute between North Korea and United States. Before that, let us have a look on the roots of the conflict. To begin the understanding of this complex relationship, we have to look back to the Korean War of 1950 to 1953. In the late 1940s and early of 1950s, America, spooked by fears of communism, sought to contain what it saw as the threat of global communism, and this division led to Korea being split into two regions along the 38th parallel. Effectively, North Korea became a Soviet-supported communist regime led by Kim Il-sung, grandfather of current ruler Kim Jong-un, while South Korea became a US-backed attempt at democracy under Syngman Rhee. On the other hand, let us witness the timeline of territorial disputes between South and North Korea in the Korean War. As we can see that it starts from 1950 until 1953. The red color represents the North, while the green color represents the South. And we can see that on September of 1950, the South nearly taken over by the North, but they fought continuously after that until 1953, and eventually formed South Korea and North Korea today. And I will pass my time to my teammate to continue his content. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pang Toilon, and continue from the last part. While the US, Japan, and their allies helped to rebuild South Korea, the North turned to Russia, China, and the nations in the communist sphere of influence, which between them supplied almost 880 million of rubles, as well as manpower and technological input. The United States is a representative democracy. This means that their government is elected by the citizens. Voting is one way to participate in democracy, unlike North Korea replaced country with the Juche ideology in its 1992 and 1998 constitutional revisions for the personality cult of Kim's family dictatorship. But tensions, which even today run broadly on the lines established in the Cold War, have always kept the US and the North Korea at loggerheads. Donald Trump, the former US president, has been critical of past efforts to engage with the regime and had taken a far less tolerant attitude to both North Korea and its ruler in the mainstream media and on Twitter. During the summit in Singapore at 12th of June 2018, former President Trump met with Kim Jong-un, the first time a sitting president to ever met a North Korean leader and reaffirmed an agreement to denuclearize the Korean peninsula. But still, the US still threatened to employ nuclear weapons against the North Korea. In order to eliminate the nuclear threats from the US, the only option left was to counter nuke with nuke, says the DPRK government in North Korea. Now, I will pass my time to my teammates to talk about the concepts of this topic.
Hi, I am Huishen. So now we will proceed to concept. First, I will talk about the United States. So, for the beginning of the tension of US and North Korea, it is when 9th of April of the year 2017, the US Navy team was heading towards the West Pacific, but due to internal miscommunication, it was presented as it was heading towards the Korea Peninsula, and this action has caused North Korea to declare war against the US anytime if they were attacked by the US. But here we can see that it is just misunderstanding between the two countries, as the US was not going to attack the North Korea. And afterward, in 2018, North Korea has been testing nuclear weapons, and the US had sanctions and pressure on North Korea. To discuss about this issue, President Trump has confirmed a meeting with Kim Jong-un, but the sanction must be remain. After a few cancellation and replanning, the meeting was finally held in Singapore. The US stated that unless North Korea are completely denuclearized, their weapons and military forces will remain in place. As we can see that the US is warning the North Korea about the nuclear testing activity, because it might cause some devastating effect for the planet and humankind.
Thank you, Hui Seng. My name is Pi Chun Fei. Now I will continue the concept part. On October 7, 2018, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo met with the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un in Pyongyang. U.S. Special Representative Stephen Biegun and North Korean official Kim Yo-jong also participate in the meeting. State Department spokesperson Heather Nauert stated that Kim invited inspectors to visit the Punggye Ri nuclear test site to confirm that it has been irreversibly demolished. They also revealed options for the location and date of the upcoming second summit between President Trump and Kim, according to the statement. On October 19, 2018, the United States and South Korea canceled the joint military exercise with Region H, which is scheduled for December. On October 25, 2018, North and South Korea and the UN command finished removing firearms and troops from the joint security area in Panmunjom. October 31, 2018, the United States and South Korea agreed to form a working group to enhance cooperation on a range of issues related to North Korea. On November 2, 2018, write that North Korea may consider returning to its previous union policy of simultaneous focusing on its nuclear program and the economy if the United States sticks to its current course.
Hi, I'm Chen Haoyu. Now I'm going to talk about the rhetorical escalation between North Korea and US that affects their state of diplomacy in August 2017. On August 8, US found that North Korea had successfully produced a threatening nuclear weapon. North Korea responded by announcing that it was considering attacking US military bases in the US territory of Guam. On August 10, head of North Korea's strategic forces responded to Trump's speech of fire and fury, saying his words were nonsense and asserting that reasonable dialogue was not possible with Trump as the former president of the US. From August 21 to 31, the US and South Korea conducted the 2017 Ultra Freedom Guardian exercise, which is a combined military exercise between South Korea and the US that was built by US Forces Korea. An editorial carried by North Korea's official Rodong Sinmun newspaper condemned the drills as the most explicit expression of hostility against us. On 29 of August, North Korea launched a missile which flew over Hokkaido, Japan. An emergency UN Security Council meeting was called for later that day to discuss the event. In a statement issued by the White House in response to the launch, Trump said that all options are on the table regarding North Korea. This means that every scenario you can think of is possible. The US could send troops or could bomb the North Koreans or shoot a missile in return. All of the different ways to attack are possible. On the 3rd of September, North Korea had conducted a sixth nuclear weapon test since the country first exploded a nuclear device in 2006. An official Korean Central News Agency statement also claimed North Korea's ability to conduct a super powerful nuclear electromagnetic pulse attack. While on September 14, North Korea issued a threat to turn the US to ashes and darkness.
I'm Jin Yong. I'm going to continue the topic that presented by Hao Yu. On September 19, Donald Trump was nipping at the North Korea in his first address to the United Nations General Assembly. He said that if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea. On September 20, US President Donald Trump signed an executive order that further toughened US sanctions against North Korea. After that, on September 21, Kim Jong-un was responding directly for the first time to President Trump's threat. He called Trump a mentally deranged US dotard and vowed the highest level of hardline countermeasure in history. On September 25, North Korea's Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho accused Trump of declaring war on his country, referring to Trump's recent tweet that North Korea won't be around much longer. On November 20, Trump officially announced relisting North Korea as a state sponsor of terrorism, which called the move as a serious provocation.
Here I would like to talk about the theory of tension between United States and North Korea. My name is Chu Junyi, and I would like to talk about the theory that applied in North Korea. From the tension of North Korea and United States, The best theory to explain this tension is realism. We can know that theory of realism is applied in North Korea is because it had developed nuclear weapons as a direct threat to the United States and its allies. There are several competing realist schools, but only offensive realists might construe North Korea and its nuclear arsenal as a direct threat to the United States and its allies. Most other realists should agree that North Korea has developed nuclear weapons as a tool for survival. With few reliable allies and located in a particularly volatile region, North Korea's development of nuclear weapons is seen as anything but irrational and as a means for ensuring security and regime survival. As demonstrated above, this perspective is already well represented in the debate on how to handle North Korea.
Thank you, Jean, for sharing the 2 points just now. Hello, I'm Gan Yihen, and I'm going to add on some of the points, which is the North Korea invented the nuclear weapon to ensure their own state security and survival. From the realist theories state that we can know that as operating in an anarchical system in which self-help is the primary means for ensuring region survival and security. So it is because due to the North Korea destructiveness, nuclear weapons are seen as the ultimate security guarantee for their own state from their enemy, which is the United States. And other than that, economic demands of the North Korea can also be understood from a realist viewpoint. The alleviation of sanctions and the provision of foreign aid and investment are often seen as part of a liberal engagement strategy. But the North Korea, such economic benefits are means for their regime survival. Thus, even the North Korea's economic demands also can be understood from a realist viewpoint. So this is all about the realism theory of North Korea.
Thank you for Ihan sharing. I am Hun Singru. Now I will talk about the reason that apply in US. Based on realist side, US sanctions North Korea is because of their own benefit. They can get a benefit from these sanctions, and they want to protect themselves. They think North Korea is a threat. Thus, because of the sanctions by US, the economy of North Korea became worse than before. North Korea faced the economic dilemma, the food shortage continued to spread, and the poverty problem doesn't improve. For example, on September 26, in year 2017, the U.S. Treasury Department announced sanctions against 8 North Korean banks and 26 citizens who participate in supporting North Korean development. Next, another reason applied in U.S. is U.S. threats North Korea because its security threatened by North Korea. North Korea threatened U.S. as nuclear attack. Most other realists should agree that North Korea has developed nuclear weapons as a tool for survival. They think have a nuclear can guarantee a country's security. Also, North Korea's confrontation with China and Russia against the US. It has led to a threat to the US. So that's why the US President Mr. Trump threatened to unleash fire and fury against North Korea if it endangered the US.
Thank you, Sinru. I'm Ng Junshin. Now I'm going to continue present the realism of the United States. And the third point is United States. One is a complete nuclear abandon by North Korea. For example, in order to resolving North Korea nuclear and military issues, US have negotiation with North Korea several times in recent years. As mentioned above, the United States want North Korea denuclearization before any security agreement, but North Korea refused to give up its nuclear weapon before a security agreement is reached. As a result, this will lead to the conflict between US and North Korea become more serious. And the last point is United States still have 28,500 troops in North Korea. According to the realist thinking, a state's strategic interests are defined in terms of its own power relative to that of potential challenges. Power can be enhanced either through the acquisition of arms as in North Korea's case. Broader US strategic interests in Northeast Asia arguably affect its willingness and ability to make progress with North Korea. The US has a large military presence in the region throughout the post-war period. Troops level have varied over time, but there are currently 28,500 troops in South Korea and around 47,000 in Japan, alongside its naval forces and missiles arsenals. This from the basis of the US ability to project power in the region. Thank you so much. That's all our presentations.